Hey y'all, it's your girl Nellyville, and today I'm back because I wanted to do a quick video about the Menendez brothers. Um, this case has been going on has been a case that's been around for years, like since 1989 when they actually their parents. And if it's older, you remember this case over the years. This is one of those cases that you will never forget. I remember being young and hearing about what these boys did, and it's just something that you'll never forget. I wanted to make this video today because recently, people was talking about these boys might get, well, they grown men now, but these brothers may be getting out of jail soon. And there's a lot of people that's rooting for them to get out of jail, including a lot of their family members. Not all, but there's a lot of their family members that is advocating for these brothers to get out of jail. And how I feel about it is kind of up in the air because you're looking at it from both sides. Well, I'm looking at it from both sides. If these boys really were abused, as the documentary talked about and showed, and then yeah, I do believe that these brothers deserve to be released from jail. But there's so many things that came up that I just can't seem to get out of my head. So I made a note of a couple things that I wanted to touch that I didn't like about this case and the argument that is being made for these brothers to be released. And one of the number one things that stood out to me that I wanted to bring up, because I don't see anybody else talking about, and that's just so weird to me. But one of the arguments that's being made is that these brothers were under 26 years old at the time of the crime, and that will make it to whereas their frontal cortex is not fully developed. So that means that they wasn't that's their defense, like their frontal brain cortex wasn't fully developed. So that would means that they probably didn't know exactly what they was doing, and they trying to make it seem like these were kids, and so they would need to be released because they should get leniency just because of that. And even though everybody have their own opinion on whether these brothers should be released or not, to me, I feel like that is not fair for them to say something like that, because we have so many young males and females all over the country that's locked up for similar reasons, and this was not a defense in their cases. Why are they not being released? Why is this something that's not being brought up for other people in their cases? Why is this a defense at all? I've never heard anybody use this as a defense in any case, but for the Menendez brothers, this is something that I'm constantly hearing, and is being repeated over and over in their defense, and I don't get that. They were 18 and 21 at the time of the crime, so I feel that they knew exactly what they were doing. Whether they did it because they was actually abused, like the case is saying, or not, they knew exactly what they was doing. So I don't believe that that's a good defense. I feel that that's so unfair, even though we know the law is unfair in most cases. It just seems that the law is never equal to everybody, and so I get that. But I just think that that's a horrible defense, and that's something that should not be considered at all, period, in this case at all. Because we have kids that's under 18 that's in jail for taking someone's life, and that's not a defense for them. So I don't feel that that should be a defense for the Menendez brothers. No. The other point I want to make, and I know that this was something that was shown in the Netflix series of the Menendez brothers, after they committed the crime, they went on this crazy shopping spree. It was like just insane, the shopping spree that they went on. And I know you can't tell people how to feel, and everybody will do things differently and feel differently and behave differently, just based off whatever their feelings are. And so you can't really use that, because maybe these brothers was just trying to find a way to cope. But that still just seems so strange. It seemed like they were just having the time of their life, and they just didn't care. They was reckless with the money. Didn't seem like they even cared about being, doing what they did. You would think they would have been curled under a comforter somewhere, even if the parents deserved it, which a lot of people were saying that they deserved it. Even if the parents deserved it, how can you, as someone, if this is not in your nature to take someone's life, even just get up every day and look at yourself in the mirror and continue to go on knowing what you did and it not affect you, and you walking around as if it doesn't affect you at all? So going on these lavish shopping sprees and things like that, that just didn't sit right with me. And then I thought about the fact that this is a Netflix series, and so of course they're going to spruce it up and make it more dramatic than what it actually was, but numbers don't lie. So even if the brothers wasn't behaving the way that the Netflix series portrayed them to be behaving, they still spent that money, and that's not a lie. So it's in the court documents. They bought Jeeps, they took lavish vacations, they bought Rolexes, they was going on a big shopping spree. And I don't know if I could be in no Rolex store or in a car lot buying cars and all this, and even after doing what I did, even if my parents did do those acts to me, or my father did that act to me, I would be somewhere still but that's just me. I get it. People gonna say, well, that's you, but that don't mean that that's how they act. I get it. But I just don't understand how someone can be out shopping and having the time of their life after doing something like that. I don't get that part, and that part just don't sit well with me. Another thing that sticks out in this case is something I'm not gonna ever forget. That's really disturbing to me with this case is the smiling. I know you guys seen that picture. I'm gonna insert it. One of the brothers, I can't remember which one it was. I don't know them apart from the pictures, but I know how they look. Was smiling in court during the trial. They were smiling in court, and that smile is just something that I can't forget. It just, and I seen someone say, well, his lawyer made a joke to him, and so that's what made him smile. Well, it didn't really seem that way. And to be honest with you, I can't see a lawyer making a joke when you in court for something so serious, for taking your parents' life. Like, what's funny? There literally will be nothing that anyone could say to me that will have me smiling in court. Nothing. There's no joke to be made. There's nothing funny here. My life is on the line because I had to do something so horrible to people that I was supposed to love and that was supposed to love me. There's not a joke. Honey, it would have been years before there would have been a smile on my face. So for me, they just seemed unbothered. If you look at a lot of their pictures of them, a lot of the pictures of them in court during the trial, they seem so unbothered, and their expressions just didn't look remorseful a lot of the times. So yeah, but I did watch the documentary. So the series and the documentary does portray two different things and tell two different stories. With the documentary, it's very clear that well, I'm not gonna say very clear because I still have some what ifs. It do seem like with their testimony on the stand that that they were genuine, and what they said their father did is I believe he did that. I do believe he did that. It just seemed too genuine, their testimony. It's so weird because it's questionable about the weird parts of this case, the shopping, the smiling, the behavior, but then their testimony just seemed extremely genuine, and so I do believe that something happened. But it also make you question if it was an act because of the fact of the behavior that's weird, and I don't know. It's so all over the place. Even with the evidence of the letter coming out in this case, where one of the brothers wrote a letter, I believe, to his cousin, admitting and confessing things that his father had done to him before the actual, and so they using that as evidence. But what if that was something that was pre-planned, that was wrote in advance? Maybe these brothers knew they were going to do this a year before they did it. I thought about that. I haven't seen anyone else bring that point up, because what if? I'm sure these brothers probably thought about this in advance. So what if that letter was wrote in advance just to cover themselves? If what they are saying is true, and these brothers were abused by their father, I do believe they should be released. But it's so touchy. It's one of those. It's such a stigma on their name, especially when you grew up hearing this case and hearing about this story for years. And you know, all the things that people said over the years, it kind of have you, you know, thinking about like, what if. And so, you know, it's just one of those things that you just don't know. And so now they're saying that it's a possibility that they'll be resentenced December 11th. And if that's the case, their charges may be dropped down to manslaughter, which is another thing that I don't understand, because I do believe that it is premeditated. The M word, I do believe that it was premeditated because of the way it was done. They went and bought the weapons in advance. They didn't buy it for what ifs. What if something happened? They said that they was afraid of their parents, and they thought that their parents was going to actually take them out first. But there's no evidence of that. You guys bought these weapons in advance, and then you acted on it. And in the Netflix series, like, it was so different than the documentary, because the series showed them coming up to the house and had already planned to do this. In the actual documentary, it said that they were already in the house, and one of the brothers thought that the father and mother was going to go get a weapon or something to come back and hurt them, so they ran upstairs to get their weapons and came down and got the parents first. So that's what it says. So I don't know, it's all over the place. I believe the documentary, of course. So yeah, the series, they did too much, because it's a lot of lies in the series. But yeah, I don't know. I see so many mixed opinions all over the internet, and it's just one of those cases that's gonna stay with you forever. Every time you hear it, it's gonna be one of those things you remember all the things you ever heard over the years. And yeah, all I know is it's a little touchy, and there's so many people saying that they should get out of jail. But another thing that I was wondering, like, what happened to their inheritance? Will they get the inheritance? I know that there was something going on about the will, that they wasn't in the will, then they was, and then they wasn't. If they wasn't, then where did the money go? Will they get anything? Did they ever find the will? I don't remember getting to that part, but I do remember hearing people say they was not in the will. And then I hear people asking about the inheritance. So I don't know where that stands. But if they get out, will they get the inheritance or not? They said that their mother, I'm hearing that their mother, Kitty, her brother is asking the courts not to let them out. But if you don't want them to get out, is it because you're trying to get that money or keep the money? How is that going? So it's so much to, you know, still learn about this case. I don't know what's gonna happen. It's one of those things that I can't. I don't know. I don't know. I can't judge it. It's kind of touchy, especially, like I said, if you grew up hearing about this case. Just tell me what you guys think. Do you think they should get out of jail? Do you think they should get out of jail? And if so, why? And do you think they should stay in jail? If so, why? I don't know. It's like, they should get out. No, they shouldn't get out. And I'm one of those type of people where if you let them out, as long as they're not my neighbors, I don't want to run across these brothers, you know, because what if? It's always a what if in these type of cases. But the documentary, you know, like I said, it showed a lot more. If you didn't see the documentary, I recommend that you go watch that, because the series was misleading in a lot of ways. Go watch the documentary and look at the testimony. That may change your mind a little bit about the brothers, but it's still so many things up in question, for me, about like their behavior and things like that. I don't know, y'all. I just want to come here and give my 2 cents and see what other people think about this case, because I've been watching this case my whole life. So what do y'all think? Let me know in the comments, honey. I'm out of here.